When you watch a video, you will think that only your eyes are interacting with it. But in fact, two senses are used. Your eyes can let you see what's happening, but your ears, they empower you to be fully immersed into the scene. So audio is as important as the video itself, and I truly believe that proper sound design can bring a film alive and elevate it to the next level. So today, let me show you my simple and efficient sound design workflow in Final Cut Pro. Hey guys, so instead of using some random clips, I'm going to show you how I put sound design into my recent short film, Dear 2019, that is about the pandemic. We finished production for this film last week, and link is in description, of course. This film was shot in 4K, 120fps on the Canon R5, so inherently there is no audio captured, which is both a bad and good thing. The bad thing is I don't have an audio to reference to, so I'll have to come up with audio tracks from my imagination or experience. But the good thing is, I have a blank canvas to work with, so I can just put whatever I see fits. So first of all, let me show you how bland the scenes look without any sound design.
Dear 2019, how we define normal will be drastically changed in a few months. Soon, you'll be very familiar with the terms quarantine, isolation, and lockdown.
Sure, the visuals might be cool and cinematic, but without any sound design, it just feels empty. Alright, let's get straight into how I do sound design. I'm using Final Cut Pro, but the workflow is the same for any other editing software, like Premiere or Resolve. Alright, the first step is to make a list of all the sounds that appear in your film. And to me, this is the most important part, because it's going to set a tone of how your film goes. You really want to take your time and get creative to identify as many sources in the shot, so audience can feel fully immersed. Try to identify at least 2 to 3 things that create a sound in each clip. For example, for the first shot here, we have a pier next to the ocean, so ocean waves and seagull would be a perfect fit here, maybe even a little bit of a boat horn. Similarly, in a downtown walking street side shot here, you want to use some traffic sound and pigeons flocking, as these are what you usually find in a downtown area. Once my list is populated according to my scenes, I will move on to source the sound clips. I personally use Artlist, but you can use any other audio library online. Not sponsored, by the way. And once you're at the library, it's pretty straightforward. You just need to find the matching sound to your list. And sometimes you just need to get creative, as the audio doesn't have to come from the exact same source as yours. Try to look into different categories if you can't find the exact sound that you're looking for, and you might be surprised at how many things make similar sound or just fitting sound. We live in a time that looking for the right sound design is just a few clicks away, but that shouldn't stop us from being creative, looking for the perfect sound. Alright guys, so now that we're in Final Cut Pro, as you can see, we have all these sound effects imported already. So there are actually 2 ways we can efficiently put all these sound effects into our timeline. First is to follow your timeline. Say for example, this part we're just going to take find the ocean sound and the pigeon sound for this part. But the other way to do it is to just follow what we have here in the media pool. Say for example, this one is running, and remember that running footstep was used in the middle part, somewhere around here.
When you walk past the stranger.
Right, so we're just gonna put this in here. So to make it more organized and easy to see for our timeline, I'm actually gonna label all of these sound effects to a new row. I'm gonna create an audio row and call it SFX. Okay. And then we're gonna assign SFX to these, and as you can see, they all become red. And when we drag them into the timeline, oops, you'll see it's so much easier to see than as if it was blue or green, like the music here. Now that we have them labeled, I'm gonna continue with my placement for each clip. For now, we just want to put them in the right order into our timeline. Alright, moving on. Let's just put them in the right order. And for this part, I'm going to temporarily turn off the voiceover and music so we have a better idea of just the sound design. So by doing no further work, you can already see how much more depth the sound design creates to the film. So there are two ways to kind of play around with the level. You can drag directly on the bar here on each clip, or you can go into the inspector and play with volume here after selecting a clip. Doing it in this inspector gives you a little bit more precision. I like doing it on the timeline directly more just because it's just quicker. And have the pigeon kick in a little bit earlier. Usually I like to use a J-cut just because it gives you an idea of what's going to happen on the next shot first. Kind of fade it out into the next shot. Oh yeah, definitely see the action happens right at the spike. That was great, but we definitely need a longer clip for that. So what I'm gonna do to drag it in first, and then very simply copy and paste. Maybe like 2 to 3 times just to like stack them up. Okay, well, take a listen. Okay, so there are two problems with the stacking right now. One is it's too repetitive, right? You can hear the exact same frequency coming out 3 times. And the other problem is it doesn't sound as full as I want it to. So I think what I'm gonna do is actually to make more copies, right? And then what I'm gonna do here is to kind of retime them a little bit. So retiming does 2 things. One is shifts the waveform a little bit, so it's harder to tell you're having the same clip. And the other thing is actually to change the pitch a little bit. Okay, for now this is okay. So I'm gonna bring it louder in the inspector. Okay. So I do like the idea of introducing the bicycle sound early, but it's just a little bit too loud for my liking. So I'm gonna add some key points by clicking down Option. Alright, kind of like that. Alright, that works totally. Whenever you see a bus, that's just what you would expect from it. And then kind of make it less loud here. Just because it's a wider shot, it's almost like a continuation from this bus here to this bus here, right? Yeah. So cutting from a close-up to a wide, we can use the same soundtrack with a different level to emphasize the change of scene. As you can see, sound design is just a game of stacking different audio together until your audience feels more immersive with the soundtrack that you put in. Alright, so now I'm pretty happy with this draft right now. Let's just zoom it out and put everything into a big compound clip. That way we can just lower it, say like 12, and then have a listen to all these tracks in a very simplified timeline, very clean timeline with just one one track for each of the voiceover, music, and sound design. And as you can see, these are all compound clip. This is my voiceover. It actually had a lot more, and I had to just delete some of the unused ones to create some space. Similar to the music, I kind of like edited it a little bit so it fits the length of the film that we want. Now let's take a listen.
Dear 2019, how we define normal will be drastically changed in a few months. Soon, you'll be very familiar with the terms quarantine, isolation, and lockdown. Sounds scary, right? Well, it's a lot worse than you can even imagine. Dear 2019, remember last week when you casually grabbed a drink with your friends after class? After all, last time this happened was 102 years ago. Dear 2019, treasure your time.
So this is pretty much the essence of sound design on a very simple scale. And I'm just going to do a little bit more fine tuning between each sound clip. And then afterwards we should be good to go. Alright guys, for recap, the sound design workflow consists of 5 steps. 1. Identify the sounds in your film. 2. Source your sound clips online. 3. Lay out the clips in your timeline. 4. Place them in the correct order and length. And 5. Level them. So the last tip I have for you is, after all the final mixing and leveling, remember to listen to your film with different audio devices, like your speakers and headphones, because they might produce a very different balancing in each audio parts. Like the voiceover might be louder in your headphones, but the music might be louder in the speakers. And just remember to practice, and practice, guys. Your sense for sound design or pretty much anything comes with the experience, and you don't lose anything by just doing some practice projects. If you have enjoyed this video, please also check out my last video where I went through the production side of this film, Dear 2019. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Remember to like, subscribe, and stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Peace!